How serious is the subject rejection? How deep is the hurt from rejection? What is the best way to deal with it? What are the consequences of rejection? Too many questions, right? Well, we're about to get some answers from our next guest, who is she's an author, she's a worship leader, she's a coach, she's a social entrepreneur. Our guest is deeply passionate about rebuilding broken communities and restoring connections. So, reason she founded the Check House. So, please welcome with me Olufisayo Odebode, called Fisayo Check.
Wow! Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
This is a place many have been and presently are as we speak about it. It's a huge pleasure to have you join us on today's program to provide us with some answers. So, Fumi, are you shooting?
Yes. So, I know there's no perfect condition, but what are the conditions for you to feel accepted? Because I feel like in every aspect of our lives, whether as an adult, as a teenager, I feel like as teenagers is worse anyway, when, you're rejected for maybe like a clique or, but what are the conditions or what are the things that will make me confident in myself so that even if I get any rejection from anywhere, it doesn't destabilize me?
I mean, acceptance comes from within, first of all.
Okay.
And it's also dependent on how you were raised, the environment in which you were brought in, how much love was pumped into you as a child, how much truth you've heard about yourself, about your community, about the things that you would face as you grow up as an adult. But rejection is normal.
Okay.
Yes,
normal?
Rejection is normal. Very normal. The same way anybody can say yes to you, they can say no to you. And you cannot always get all the yeses all the time. And so when you are growing up, if your parents have, raised you in such a way that they make you understand that when you hear no, it's not because we hate you. It's not because you are not loved. It's just because you can't have this at this time. And you cannot always have what you want.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so how does one process rejection as a learning opportunity?
So,
There's school. We should
really, there's no school. And that's why I like to take it from the angle of family, the angle of your community. There's no way to perfectly learn how to deal with rejection. It's a very sensitive topic. It's a very delicate topic. But the truth is, when you are going through rejection, I always advise that the first thing you do is take the focus off yourself to what were you trying to achieve in the first place? Were you trying to apply for a job, an admission, you wanted to get into a relationship, get married, you proposed? What were you trying to achieve? Let that purpose be your focus. Now, there are many ways to achieve what you want to achieve. Are you trying to climb the ladder, in your profession, career-wise? What is it exactly that you are trying to achieve? And so once you focus on that, it's easier for you to find other means in which you can achieve your goal or even heal from the rejection because you know that, hey, this happens. And this is what I'm trying to achieve. So it's not really about you when you are rejected. It's not really about you. Although there are things that you can learn because you realize that I should have done this better. Okay. Maybe while applying for this job, I should have consulted somebody, And it always helps if you're in an environment where you get feedback.
Yes.
So when you get your feedback, you can easily use it. So that's what I mean when I say rejection is normal. And then taking the focus off yourself to the purpose to which you were trying to achieve.
Okay, so feedback now. So how do I ensure that my habits or my character or whatever it is, because I like that you say that, yes, rejection is not about you, but sometimes maybe it's even just about you.
Yeah, sometimes.
So how do I not get in my own way when, so let's talk about, let's use an example of a job, for example, and even I see it all the time. They say, oh, send a cover letter or write something, and you have gone totally out of the way and all of that. Even though one of the things we don't do very well in Nigeria, I feel like we don't give, feedback. proper feedback, and I'll go back and give an example of myself. So, for example, I also teach part-time, and so when the results of my students came out recently, and I think some of them expected to get a certain grade, I didn't get it. So some people called me, and some of the students called me, and they were like, "Oh, Miss Fumi, we would like to. Oh, what happened?" And I began to give them feedback on what they should have done differently, because I just told her, I said, look, I don't want to be like a typical Nigerian lecturer, just tell you, oh, you failed. But to be able to give you feedback for next time and say, okay, these are the steps that so what do we now do if you have been giving that feedback and then you don't take it? And you know how we say in Nigeria that everybody cannot love what you love first. I know this thing of you do me and everything, and we're just how do we not get in the way of our own progress that we
The truth is, there's always consequences for actions. So if you choose not to, manage your season of rejection for growth, it's all on you. Because you will get the consequences for your actions. Rejection can be a blessing.
Okay.
Yeah, it can be a blessing. It can save you from a whole lot of trouble. And so the period... My proposal to people is when you are being rejected, when you check yourself, there are two ways. It's either, it's your fault. It could be your fault that you are rejected, but it's not always, in fact, more often than not, it's not your fault. It's just that the opportunity was not for you. You are not prepared enough for it, or it's not just what you should be doing at the time. And so you have to evaluate the situation and say, oh, okay, should I be upskilling? Should I be up-tooling myself? Should I be talking to a consultant? Should I be doing more research? And all of these that you do will not just benefit you for getting the opportunity that you want, but for sustaining the opportunity that you are going for. Because the end is not getting what you want. The goal is that you are able to sustain it. And that's one of the things that we lack in the environment that we are in right now. Sustenance. We just want the result. We just want it, and then we ignore the process. And the process is what makes you who you are. Is what shapes you. Is what develops your culture, your values, your character. But we just ignore all of the process. We just want, in this generation, fast.
Yes, we just want the titles and the big names. Right. I want to be known as the CEO of blah blah blah. The process but after you've celebrated, are you able to sustain that company? Are you able to grow?
What impact are you making afterwards?
Yes, afterwards. Yes, true.
Yeah.
Very true.
Okay, I'm really so happy that you brought this topic. Like, it's beautiful. Rejection. When we're thinking about it, we didn't look at it from that positive point of view.
Right.
Because there are scenarios here and there. There's stories of people that we know who have gone into depression, for example, who have gone into some terrible, terrible things. They've done a lot of things. And these things have been traced back, to times where things happened to them.
Yeah.
They were rejected. They didn't get the attention they needed. They didn't get the help they needed. They were not showed love. So I'm asking, how deep, how dangerous is this place to be?
I started by saying there's no angle you want to look at rejection from. It's not fun. It's not good. It's not interesting. But as an individual, especially as an adult who wants to be a responsible person in the society, you have to know that things will not always go your way. That's part of leading yourself. That's part of self-leadership. That's part of self-regulation. That's part of, just understanding that things will not always go your way. There is no way you want to look at it. And that's why I'm talking about upbringing matters.
Yes.
And we failed a lot in this system in terms of, and that's why I was so happy when the first speaker you had, who was talking about autism and all of that, even though she was focusing on autism, but I was still looking at everything from the beginning.
Yes.
Okay.
Because even an autistic person, how the person is going to perform in the society is still going to be determined on how the person was raised.
Yeah.
And so this is where we are failing. We think that you can just give Panadol to just solve the headache without checking what the root cause is. How is a child raised? But as an adult, when you look at it, and that's why I do what I do, when you look at it, how were you raised? What are the things that have gone wrong? How can you make amends? So if you were not well brought up, I'm not saying that your parents didn't do well. I'm saying they could have done better in certain areas.
If they knew better, they probably would have done better.
You now cannot be blaming them for your failures, for your woes. You have got to take responsibility for yourself and see how you can. If you need to talk to a therapist, if you need to get counseling, which I did at some point in my life in order to be able to address the things that hurt me in the past, you can't then go for it. Get help. You will always be hurt.
All right. The director is saying we need to go. I'm looking at you, and you are such an interesting person. And I want to learn more about this.
Well, sorry, director. Can you just give us a few minutes to just give us like 3 tips? Because I always feel like when people go away with tips, and I find that many people who are rejected become people pleasers. As many adults, you see them wanting to say yes to everybody, do everything for everybody.
Because you don't want to hurt someone.
They don't want to be, they don't have boundaries. They want to be known as to everybody. This person is just a kind person. So can you give 3 tips maybe to parents to just say, how do you help your child's self-esteem so that they don't, they handle rejection properly?
You have to normalize rejection in your home.
Okay, that's number 1. Number 2.
That when they grow up, they can understand that this is normal. Yes, no is also a complete statement, just like yes. So they have to normalize rejection. Then they have to maximize a season of rejection for growth.
Okay.
And then number 3 that I would like to leave us with is to be humble. You have to be open to the possibility of things failing, of things not going your way. You have to, and then sometimes what happens is we feel like we are smart, we are this, you should get it. But your smart might not be the kind of smart they need where you are going.
Wow.
So you have to be open to the possibility of the fact that you might not be the best in your field.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Please, you
see how we said wow together.
You still have to come back. This is so, just a fantastic topic. We have to expand more and just because I really love this topic.
Thank you. And you look amazing.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
All right. So knowledge is indeed one step closer to getting solutions to life challenges. That's one of it. We killed this one, I believe. Thank you once again for coming.
Yes, thanks for having me.
Okay, and so that's our 2 topics, on John and Helen segment. But Farah is coming on with a life lesson. She's going to be talking about parenting for change. But before we have Farah on, we have our fitness expert. So please stay with us.
All right.